Welcome back to JAK Sports. My name is Jacob Kelly, and this is the show where we take you through the biggest stories in sports that you might have missed this week. In today's episode, we have the Louisville basketball sex scandal, Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather, my NHL mock draft, and more. The Golden State Warriors are NBA champions. They beat Cleveland in Game 5, 129-120 to win the series 4-1. Kevin Durant was the Finals MVP, and a lot of people say he joined Golden State for an easy route to a title. And yes, I will admit, joining the team that knocked you out of the playoffs in the conference finals the year before is a questionable thing to do, but he earned that title. He didn't just coast through this series. He played fantastic basketball, some of the best basketball we've ever seen Kevin Durant play. And that shot in Game 3 over LeBron James is an iconic shot that's going to go down in basketball history. He earned this title and he earned that MVP. With Kevin Durant's great play, I've heard people discussing whether he's better than LeBron James now, and that is absolutely not true. LeBron James still played phenomenal in this series, becoming the first player to average a triple-double with averaging 32 points, 12 rebounds, 10 assists. He did everything he could in this series, but at the end of the day, Golden State Warriors were just too good. Speaking of LeBron James, the Vertical's Adrian Wojnarowski, who's a phenomenal NBA reporter. If you haven't checked him out yet, I highly recommend it. He reported that within Cleveland Cavaliers and around the league, the belief is that there's no guarantee LeBron James will be back with the Cavaliers next season. It's been discussed that LeBron can end up in LA with either the Clippers or the Lakers. His business endeavors are out west. He has a home in LA. And he has ties to both teams. As said in the past, he wants to play with Chris Paul, but he also has a relationship with Magic Johnson. Between those two things, I think the Clippers is the best option for him. I was listening to The Herd with Colin Cowherd this week, and he brought up some very valid points why the Clippers are a better option for LeBron than the Lakers. The Lakers are still a young team, and they're just not quite ready to win right now. But the Clippers, they could be ready to win with LeBron James, and if Chris Paul stays with Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan. Additionally, with the Clippers, it's better for his legacy. LeBron James, if he goes to the Clippers and wins the NBA championship, that's his third questionable team that wasn't good before he got there, that once he arrived became great and won a championship. A lot of people are speculating that LeBron James is going to leave the Cavaliers because they just aren't good enough to beat Golden State. Golden State is too good. I don't know about that. I would argue against that because if we go back to Game 3, if the Cavaliers hadn't collapsed, and I absolutely considered a collapse, not a comeback by Golden State, the Cavs just ran out of gas. But if they'd been able to hold on for that game and then won Game 4, we have an even series. And I still think they would have lost Game 5, but that brings us back to Cleveland for Game 6, and then we could be looking at a Game 7 where it's a winner-take-all. I don't think that the gap is that great between the Warriors and the Cavs. I think the Cavs would be better off bringing in a better piece. If they brought in a Gordon Hayward, I know Paul George has said he doesn't want to leave Indiana, but if they could trade for him and bring him in, that would elevate this team. Or even if they bring in a Paul Millsap who could bang away inside the post for them, I just think it would be better for LeBron James if he stayed in Cleveland. I also think LeBron James to the West could ruin the NBA Finals because the NBA Finals would become the Western Conference Finals. It'd be Golden State against LeBron James with most likely the Clippers. And then after that, it'd be a 4-game formality to play whichever team came out of the East just to hand LeBron James or the Warriors the trophy. Louisville basketball coach Rick Pitino has been suspended for 5 games, and the team is at risk of losing their 2013 NCAA title. This is a result of a sex scandal in which former Louisville staffer Adam McGee was found to have paid escorts thousands of dollars to perform sex parties and private dances for recruits. Pitino himself was not directly involved. His punishment is a result of negligence and not monitoring his staff closely enough, which allowed this to go on. On top of Pitino's suspension and potentially losing the 2013 NCAA championship, Louisville has also been placed on probation for the next 4 seasons, as well as having their funding and recruiting privileges reduced. The NCAA has been investigating Louisville since 2015 when escort queen Katina Powell published a book detailing her experiences with the Louisville men's basketball team. If you want a pair of Lonzo Ball's Zo2 Prime shoes, you better act fast. LeVar Ball announced in an Instagram video that the shoes will no longer be available for pre-order starting June 22nd.
You guys better get your primes right now because we counting down as we speaking. Just like these grits are coming to a simmer, so is those shoes. You will not be able to get those shoes after no more pre-orders after June 22nd.
June 22nd is the day of the NBA draft. So the day Lonzo Ball officially becomes an NBA player, they are stopping pre-orders for his shoes, which I don't completely understand. The reason I think that they're stopping these pre-orders June 22nd is because they're assuming Lonzo is going to be drafted by the Lakers. We don't know if that's going to happen anymore. There's been so many reports flying around, but we'll get to that in a second. But the Ball family believes that Lonzo is going to be drafted by the Lakers. That in its own right is going to generate buzz, and they will get some pre-orders for the shoes the day he gets drafted just based off that. Then, as it progresses through the summer, he's going to do well in Summer League, which is going to generate more buzz. More people are going to start jumping on the Lonzo Ball bandwagon. The preseason, he's going to continue to do well. More and more people jumping on the bandwagon. And then I think when the regular season starts, they're going to open up the shoes for more pre-orders for a limited amount of time to try and get a rush of people in to buy these shoes, and then they're going to pull them off again. Speaking of the NBA draft, I have absolutely no idea what's going to happen. I did my mock draft a couple weeks ago. I will link to it in the description down below, but there are so many reports flying around right now. I don't know what to believe. At the end of the NCAA season, it was Markelle Fultz as the consensus #1 overall pick. Lonzo Ball will go second, Josh Jackson third, and then after that, there's a couple guys that are going to compete for 4, 5, and 6. But since then, Markelle Fultz no longer a lock in Boston. There's reports that Josh Jackson is being favored by Boston. Markelle said he's only going to work out with the Celtics, but now he's going to work out with the Lakers. Lonzo, who's supposed to be a lock with the Lakers, said he's only going to work out with them, is now considering multiple other teams in the draft lottery. De'Aaron Fox is now considered to be a favorite in LA. There's reports that they're going to take him. Jason Tatum has flown completely under the radar. I haven't heard anything about Jason Tatum, and he was my sleeper pick to go 3rd overall in the draft. I'll be very surprised if Markelle Fultz is not drafted 1st overall by the Boston Celtics, and I'll be even more surprised if the Lakers don't draft Lonzo. I think all these reports coming out of the Lakers that they don't like Lonzo's work ethic, they're going to pass on him. They're liking De'Aaron Fox a little more now. I think those are just bluffs by the Lakers to ensure that Boston doesn't draft Lonzo. That being said, you never know what could happen. The draft is pretty deep this year, so I would not be shocked if there were some surprises at the draft. I know I'm really excited for Thursday. It's official. August 26th at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas, Conor McGregor will fight Floyd Mayweather. Floyd Mayweather comes in with a record of 49-0, and technically, because this is a boxing match, Conor McGregor comes in with a record of 0-0. His UFC record is 21-3, but this is a pure boxing match, which Conor McGregor has never fought before. They're taking him out of his element in the UFC and putting him in the squared circle. I don't know if this fight's going to be as entertaining as people want it to be. I think Floyd's going to win, and I think this fight's going to end up looking a lot like the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight. It's going to be really defensive on Floyd's part with some quick jabs for him to score points and win this fight. I think Floyd's going to win, and he's pretty confident he's going to as well. He's already filed 5 trademarks revolving around 50-0. But no matter what, this is a great fight for Conor. If he wins, he goes down a legend by beating Floyd Mayweather, being the only loss on his record. But if he loses, which he likely will, he's still going to make more money in this fight than he has in any fight he's made in the UFC. It's rumored he's going to make around $100 million. The fact that Conor McGregor is going to take home that much money is incredible. Daryl Rover, who's an ESPN sports business reporter, tweeted that 4 years ago, Conor McGregor picked up a welfare check for $235. In 4 years, he's risen to the top of the fighting world, and as I said, at the end of August, he's going to be collecting a check not for $235, but for $100 million. And whether you like Conor McGregor or not, you have to respect that. From one unbelievable matchup to another, in the one side we have Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather, boxing's best and UFC's best. In the other side, we have Michael Phelps and a great white shark. You heard that right. Michael Phelps and a great white shark. For Shark Week this year, Michael Phelps will be racing a great white shark. This debuts July 23rd, and I don't know what to make of this. This is a little bit ridiculous. I'll probably watch, but what the f***? A freshman football player at Kent University has died after morning workouts. Offensive lineman Tyler Hines collapsed after conditioning drills. He was rushed to hospital around 9 a.m., and despite multiple efforts to revive him, they failed, and he was pronounced dead just before noon. The cause of his death is still unknown, but Tyler Hines was doing what he loved. He was going to school to play football. He was going to study marketing and entrepreneurship, but this just sucks, and there's no other way I can put this other than shitty. It's a shitty thing that happened, and my condolences go out to his family. Johnathan Drouin has been traded. The Tampa Bay Lightning traded Johnathan Drouin and a conditional 6th overall pick to Montreal for Mikhail Sergachev and a conditional 2nd overall pick. For those of you who don't know who Sergachev is, I don't blame you. He's only played 4 games in the NHL so far, but he's supposed to be a hot young defensive prospect. He led the Windsor Spitfires to Memorial Cup this year, and this is going to be a long-term play for the Tampa Bay Lightning. He's not going to come in and be a stud. Drouin is already looking like he's going to be a very solid hockey player. But as I said, Sergachev's only played 4 games in the NHL so far. We don't really know how he's actually going to turn out. The condition on this trade, as I said, they're conditional picks, is if Sergachev plays 40 games next season. If he doesn't play, no picks are exchanged. But I think that Sergachev has potential. This is a long-term play by the Lightning, and we're not really going to see who's going to win this trade for a couple of years. Speaking of hockey, the Pittsburgh Penguins repeated as Stanley Cup champions. They beat Nashville in 6 games, winning Game 6 2-0. They're the first team to repeat as Stanley Cup champions since the Detroit Red Wings did it back in 1997 and 1998, and they're the first team to repeat in the salary cap era. Sidney Crosby won the Conn Smythe, making it 2 years in a row for him as well. The last player to do that? Penguins owner Mario Lemieux when he did it back in 1991 and 1992. With Pittsburgh winning the Stanley Cup, I do think that this is the last time we will see Marc-Andre Fleury in a Penguins jersey. He played very well for this team for many years, but Matt Murray is here now and he's here to stay. The fact that the guy's still considered a rookie and he already has 2 Stanley Cup rings is unbelievable. Out of everything that happened in these playoffs with Pittsburgh, the most important thing that happened to them was getting lit up in Game 3 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Fleury let in 4 goals, and that's when they pulled him and put Matt Murray in for the first time in the playoffs. And from there, he led the Penguins to win the Eastern Conference Finals and overall the Stanley Cup. So realistically, in the long run, Fleury letting in 4 goals in a single period resulted in the Penguins winning the Cup. Now that the season is over, we get to find out who will be on the Las Vegas Golden Knights for their inaugural season. The NHL Expansion Draft is this Wednesday, June 21st. And speaking of drafts, following the Expansion Draft on Thursday is the NBA Draft, and the day after, on Friday, is the NHL Draft. Now, I've already done my NBA mock draft. As I said earlier, I will link to it in the description down below. But now I'll do my NHL mock draft. And for the sake of time, I'm only going to do the top 10 picks. With the first overall pick in the NHL draft, the New Jersey Devils will select Nolan Patrick. Now, there has been some debate whether Nolan Patrick or Nico Hischier will go first overall. I think it's going to be Patrick. He's been predicted to go first overall in this draft for a couple of years now. He's NHL ready. He's got good speed. He's got a decent size as well, and he's a great offensive player. With the second overall pick in this draft, the Philadelphia Flyers will select Nico Hischier. Nico Hischier could go first overall in this draft. I personally think he's going to go second. He's a good offensive player. He's a nice passer. He's a good shooter as well, and he's a pretty quick guy. He's not the fastest skater, but I said he's quick. Third overall pick in the NHL draft, the Dallas Stars will select Gabriel Vilardi. He's a solid big forward. He's 6'3", 201. He works. He's good in the offensive zone. He's going to be a nice player in Dallas. With the fourth overall pick in this draft, the Colorado Avalanche will select Miro Haskinen. He's a defenseman of the Finnish Junior League. He's arguably the best defenseman in the draft this year. He's a good skating, high IQ defenseman. Colorado desperately needs a D-man, and I think he will do well in Colorado. With the fifth overall pick in the NHL draft, the Vancouver Canucks will select Cody Glass. He's a forward with decent size. He's 6'2". He's got nice hands. He's got great vision. He's a good passer. With the sixth overall pick in the NHL draft, the Las Vegas Golden Knights will select Owen Tippett, arguably the draft's best scorer. He's a good mix of speed, skill, and size. And I think Vegas is going to need some exciting young players to boost ticket sales next year. And I think Tippett is just that. I think he's an exciting young player. And he's going to do well in Las Vegas. With the seventh overall pick in the NHL draft, the Arizona Coyotes will select Cale Makar. Cale Makar is a defenseman coming out of the Alberta Junior League. They were runner-up in the RBC Cup this year. Now, Cale's been compared to Erik Karlsson. Now, he's not that good, but he plays a similar style, and next season he won't be in the NHL. He'll be going to the University of Massachusetts to develop more, and I think he's going to fit in nicely with the young Coyotes in a year or two. With the eighth overall pick in the NHL draft, the Buffalo Sabres will select Casey Middlestad. He played a combination of high school hockey and USAHL hockey, and he's committed to the University of Minnesota next season. With the ninth overall pick in the NHL draft, the Detroit Red Wings will select Michael Rasmussen, and with the 10th overall pick in the NHL draft, the Florida Panthers will select Martin Necas. Thank you for watching this week's episode of JAK Sports. Make sure you let me know in the comment section down below your opinion on anything that I talked about today. I'm really interested to hear your NBA and NHL mock drafts and just draft day predictions. Make sure you follow me on social media. You can find me on Instagram at jkels97 and on Twitter at @thejacobkelly. And JAK Sports has its own Instagram account now. I post clips from these weekly episodes almost daily on there. The account is JAK Sport. There's no S on the end. I will link to all 3 of those profiles in the description down below. Thank you once again for tuning in. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you next week.